basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The NBA is becoming more difficult every day to win a championship. Several teams have emerged with a very good squad, and for the Warriors to return to the dynasty, it will be necessary to make some updates to the squad. Rumors: Warriors want to negotiate with the Wizards and sign Kyle Kuzma. The Golden State Warriors and Washington Wizards have recent history as trade partners, with the two teams getting together in a blockbuster deal involving Chris Paul and Jordan Poole in June last year. With the rebuilding Wizards likely to be sellers and the playoff-contending Warriors expected to be buyers, there's a possibility that the teams could reconvene on another deal prior to the February 6 trade deadline. The Warriors have been linked to Wizards forward Kyle Kuzma. If Golden State are going to have interest in any Washington player, it's likely to be forward Kyle Kuzma, who's expected to garner interest from a number of teams across the league. In a new report on Monday, Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype linked the Warriors to a trade for the 2020 NBA champion. Other teams who've kept tabs on Kuzma include the Bucks, Warriors, Lakers, Heat, and Cavaliers, according to Scotto. Kuzma has had a down start to the season that's been impacted by injury, with the 29-year-old currently averaging 15.8 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 1.9 assists on a less-than-ideal 42% shooting from the floor and 27.6% from three-point range. Last season provided a far greater indication of Kuzma's best, putting up 22.2 points on 46.3% shooting to go with 6.6 rebounds and 4.2 assists per game. He put up 21.2 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 3.7 assists the year prior, having been a volume shooter but not an overly efficient one throughout his 8-year career to date. Kuzma is making $23.5 million this season, but is actually on a descending contract that ends with him making $19.4 million in 2026-27. That's sure to increase his value among potential suitors, though it's still not easy for the Warriors to reach this year's number. DeAnthony Melton's $12.8 million expiring contract gets Golden State just over halfway there, yet any deal for Kuzma would likely have to include some combination of Gary Payton, Kevin Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and draft capital. The Warriors could certainly do with another 18 to 20 point per game scorer, particularly as they try to lessen the burden on a 36-year-old Stephen Curry. Kuzma could slide into the small forward spot, pushing Andrew Wiggins to the 2 guard in a big Golden State lineup that also features Draymond Green and a center. Bear in mind that this is not the first time the Warriors have been linked to a trade for Kuzma, with Sam Amico of Hoops Wire reporting their interest in January prior to last season's deadline. Warriors keeping tabs on Kyle Kuzma. Mike Dunleavy Jr. is unlikely to rush into any potential trade negotiations. He's shown great restraint when it comes to negotiating deals that could cost the Warriors some of their younger talent or future draft picks. However, if he wants to upgrade the roster, he must be willing to use some of his trade chips ahead of the February 6 trade deadline. According to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, the Warriors are among a handful of teams that have been keeping tabs on Kyle Kuzma. The veteran forward has been with the Washington Wizards since the 2021-22 season and has been a key player for them. The Sacramento Kings have also been linked to Kuzma for the past 2 seasons, Scotto reported. Other teams who've kept tabs on Kuzma include the Bucks, Warriors, Lakers, Heat, and Cavaliers, Hoops Hype has learned. Kuzma is in the second year of his 4-year, $90 million contract. He is one of the most tradable players in the league due to his team-friendly deal and valuable production as a 3-and-D forward. Kuzma wouldn't be the second star the Warriors are looking for, but he would improve the overall starting lineup and provide additional experience in the locker room. The Warriors came into the season with hopes of making a deep playoff run. The aim is to build toward one final shot at winning a championship. Steph Curry and Draymond Green are in the latter stages of their career. As such, they can't afford to be too patient as they wait for some of the younger talents to blossom. Of course, winning helps to keep things in perspective. The veteran stars would be more likely to accept the current plan if they can see improvements from last season. Bouncing back from this 5-game losing streak is essential for the Warriors. It would help to rebuild some of the momentum they had to begin the season. Golden State may see the trade market as a way to improve their fortunes. The Los Angeles Lakers embarked on a run to the Western Conference Finals after reshaping their roster around the 2023 trade deadline. Still, they must approach with caution. Any trade they make must improve the roster. Otherwise, they will find themselves stuck in a transitional phase without the means to expedite the process. Steve Kerr's lineups again drew criticism from Warriors fans on Friday. The Timberwolves went on a 23-2 run during the second quarter, allowing the visitors to open up a 19-point lead that Golden State never recovered from. An 11-2 run did provide some hope heading into halftime, and an 11-4 run pulled the Warriors to within 3 early in the third. Yet Golden State simply had far too many significant stretches without productive offense, not helped by a season-high 22 turnovers in the 17-point loss. It also wasn't aided by some interesting lineups from Steve Kerr, though the head coach was hindered by the absence of Andrew Wiggins and Moses Moody from early in the second half. One particular lineup drew the ire of Warrior fans in the third quarter, with Kerr going to a 5-man combination of Pat Spencer, Lindy Waters 3, Gary Payton 2, Draymond Green and Tracy Jackson-Davis. Unsurprisingly, that unit struggled to create offense, going a 3-minute period without a field goal. A couple of Stephen Curry threes pulled Golden State within 3 early in the fourth, offering them a legitimate shot of still winning the game. Unfortunately, the offense only got worse from there, with the Warriors scoring 4 points over the next 7 minutes. Curry had 23 points after missing Thursday's game, but was inefficient in shooting just 6 of 17 from the floor and 3 of 9 from three-point range. Only 3 other Golden State players reached double figures, with Jonathan Kuminga scoring 13 points on 6 of 15 shooting after his career-high 33-point performance against the Rockets. Draymond Green returned in a bench role, allowing Kuminga to retain his spot in the starting lineup. The veteran forward provided some energy with 10 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists and 2 steals in just over 26 minutes. The Warriors furthered their offensive woes from recent games by shooting just 39% from the floor and 28.2% from three-point range. They'll now have the chance to respond against the same opponent at the same venue on Friday night. Steve Kerr says one Warriors player will see an increased role. You are here, home/sports/NBA/ Steve Kerr says one Warriors player will see an increased role. Steve Kerr says one Warriors player will see an increased role. Avatar photo. December 7, 2024. By Ernesto Cova. At Edgekavap. Leave a comment. Follow the Cold Wire on Google News. Follow us. Steve Kerr says one Warriors player will see an increased role. Photo by Matthew Stockman/Getty Images. Just last season, Brandon Podziemski looked poised to take over and be Klay Thompson's successor with the Golden State Warriors. Podziemski had an all-rookie season and excelled as a starter or off the bench. However, the 21-year-old has regressed this season, and head coach Steve Kerr put him on blast after some costly turnovers a couple of games ago. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean Kerr is not going to continue trusting him. Following a lopsided loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Warriors coach claimed he would continue to give Podziemski a lot of playing time. Kerr lauded Podziemski not only for his shot-making but because of everything else that he brings to the table. He can stretch the floor with his outside shot but also can create for others. He can play on and off the ball at either guard spot, and he can hold his own on the defensive end of the floor. Kerr has altered his lineups and rotations as he looks for a spark to get the team back to its winning ways from earlier in the season. He sent Draymond Green to the bench and started Jonathan Kuminga, and he's reportedly set to stick with that lineup. That also means Podziemski will continue to get starters minutes, and it'll be up to him to get past the second-year wall and return to being the player he was in his rookie season.